Yeah, it has. Your name, and I'm going to start. This is going to be like a theme, but your name has been on our guest list for some time. Oh. And the reason, of course, I think you're a very interesting person, and I would love to hear all of the things that you have to share. But there are, I think, 2 people in Trinidad who are on the radio voicing ads of different descriptions. 2 people in Trinidad that voice more ads than me. Okay. And I think that's you and Conrad Paris.
Yeah,
and it's interesting. Every time I call a government office or I call a business and I hear your voice, there's like a little thing. It's like another one.
Yeah,
that's awesome because I know it. I'm in the industry, but I guess your voice would have been how you got into the industry. But
nope.
What was the catalyst?
Yeah.
So then, what was the catalyst?
So first to start, right? I came back to Trinidad after pursuing a film degree in university, mostly because I had the extreme privilege of a grandfather who left money for my university, right? So Jeffrey Stolmeyer, rest in peace, that was something he did for his grandchildren. So as a result, I was not thinking about a degree for a long-term career. Like, it is the most ridiculous privileged position to be in. So I ended up pursuing a film degree. I also ended up pursuing a fellow.
Yeah.
When he decided to move to Thailand, because I stayed in the US after my graduation. Right. When he decided to move to Thailand, I said, Sophie, you're not following a man to Thailand. And I came home. And with my degree, I became employed by Marielle Brown.
Nice.
Working in TV production. I was able to administrative and co-produce basically many projects that I am proud of to this day under Marielle. But I could see during that time that it's not an industry that allows you to buy a home, take your daughter on vacation. Nope. It's filled with so many talented, deserving, passionate people. It's just not filled with people that are thriving financially.
Too much uncertainty.
Yes.
Within our sector of the industry.
And it hasn't improved since then, After that...
What year was that, if I may ask?
Early 2000s.
Right, okay, got it.
I decided to leave Marielle. I'm living at home. I don't need to get a walk right away to pay my rent.
Right.
Hoppy thought I was a foreigner. The reason he thought I was a foreigner is because Daniel Diffenthaler, also rest in peace, she needed someone to play a loose American tourist in the Reef.
Yes, that's true. You were in the Reef. I got cast in the Reef, by the way.
She hired me. I had to dye my hair blonde. And that was an amazing experience. And Hoppy and I had no scenes together. So I'm playing an American in the Reef. Like, hi.
All right. Let's do this.
The most cliched accent ever. And so his experience of me was this foreign girl. So he sees me on the road one day, pulls up. I had bought a gyro. And he pulls up next to me in this big black car. And a window goes down and I hear, Sophie. And a thing down. And he says, I'm doing this magazine thing. I think you would be good to sell ads in it. So I went to one of the first meetings, which was at the top of Iowa Station on the roof, met, the Royal Foundation people for Scotch. I wasn't one of the foundation people for Scotch. And he was right. I could sell ads for it. I had a name and I was an age and I was cute. And, the different ad managers who tended to be men around 30 would take a meeting with me, But what also happened is he had this insane idea that you didn't have to have people in charge of anything, that everybody would just fill in, which meant nobody did, and I filled in everything. By issue 3, I was the editor of Scotch. By, I forget what issue, we had moved to a building in Belmont. And in that same building is Star Sound Studios. Right. I think they're still there. And the engineer there at the time, he and I used to line when we were like early teens. And I said to him, I think I could do voicing. And he said, well, come on in and I'll have you read the script that I recorded today. So I'll have an example of your voice. So I went in and I did that. And this is something that we'll talk about because people ask me all the time, how do you get into this kind of job, you know? So we'll get into it.
That's one of the questions on the list.
Exactly, right? But by having my voice on record, as soon as a customer said to him, but I don't want to use the gear I always use. Do you have anybody? He was able to play them.
Very cool.
You know? So within 2 weeks, I had a B-Mobile commercial. And 2 weeks after that, I had Tash McFash.
Right.
And that was, people who remember it will understand how huge it was.
Yeah.
We are talking the days of Paris Hilton's TV show, The Simple Life, was on air. So you could look up what year that show aired, and we can figure out what year we're talking about. Because I don't know what year it is off the top of my head. But it's that show that launched BlackBerry into the mainstream.
Right.
And as a result, BlackBerry became boom in Trinidad. Everybody was, remember pins?
BBM and all that.
Yes. So TTYL, Tash. It was based on Gossip Girl, the TV show.
Right.
And so it started out slightly American. And then over time, they were like, no, just make it more Trini. And over time, Tash got more and more just my regular voice.
Right.
Then the Beyonce concert happened.
2006?
Maybe.
Right.
And B-Mobile had to seriously cut back on their advertising because they no longer had the budget.
They spent all the money on it. I remember that. Shagaramas.
Right. As a result, Tash disappeared. Tash disappeared for like 2 years. And during that time, other people started using my voice.
Yeah.
So when they wanted to bring Tash back, they found they had a huge problem because Tash was now the voice of Nestle and so and so and so and so because it was just my voice.
That's a good point.
Right?
Because you had done all of these clients, all these businesses and products
in the
before.
2 years in between, you know? So how I got into voicing has to do with, these myriad things. Now, the fact that I was voicing and the fact that I had been the editor of Squash Magazine is how I got onto radio because Star was opening up.
Right. 94?
Yeah.
94.
Yeah,
right.
947, right?
Yes.
And they were looking for someone who could do morning. Because you can't just have a nice voice or a hype man for morning and afternoon drive times. You need someone who has a little something to say, somebody who can roll with it, somebody who could do an interview with someone.
Right.
And even though I had never been on radio before, Hoppy told Johnny Soon, who told Chow, give Sophie a chance. Cool. So it was me and Val at first. So
Val McKee?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we were the ones when they had the big launch concert with Maroon 5. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was the one there on stage walking out. Hi, this is the crew for your radio station, So Star was technically my stud, but I only lasted 3 months there. Mostly because I don't think people out there realize how dismally the pay is to be on radio.
No, I don't think. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
And it's a whole conversation because a lot of, especially hype men and DJs themselves, the value of being on radio is the validation.
And then they make the money outside, DJing, producing, whatever the case may be.
That leads to other work, right? But that wasn't the case for me. I was not looking to play parties in Grenada and Canada and wherever else, you know what I mean? So I said, no, thank you. And I walked away, and within days, I had a phone call, this time from Joel Morris, who I had never met. This is Signal to Noise. Mm-hmm. Top secret, we're opening a station called Slam.
Wow.
Now, what people don't know, should I tell this story? What people don't know is that Joel Morris wanted to have a particular morning show to start that radio station. And he was working hard. I won't say who it is.
He was hanging his hat on the morning show for the station, right?
And it didn't work out. The duo said, now we got to stay where we are because we're secure here, better the evil you know.
Right.
And as a result, he had to move TC. It was Super Jigger TC back then.
Right.
So whoa, Jagger. He was supposed to be the mid-morning slot. He had to convince him to come in the morning instead. He didn't want to be waking up at 5 a.m., And he said, well, I'll do it.
But 6 to 9 is the morning drive here.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to find me somebody who I'm not doing all the work. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so Joelle thought Sophie and TC, that will be a clash.
I mean, it sounds like an awesome
right?
duo.
So we did it. So I did the opening show for Slam. I was the first person, to be in their morning show along with TC. And that lasted a few years.
Yeah, that one I remember.
Yeah. And then I thought I should move over to 9-5. So I kind of requested it. And then I didn't love it. I think to this day, Slam is still my most positive radio experience. 9-5 lasted about 6 months, and then I decided to move on. Joel came back into my life. He and Tova Satnarayan asked me to come and help them launch Talk Radio Freedom.
Nice. Yes.
And I did help them with
Very
that.
cool.
But once again, it doesn't last. I think it's because I don't like to go to the same place every day.
Yeah, well, maybe maybe stints is for you, go build and bust it to build something else.
So I do have a bit of a track record of that, of opening radio stations and then saying, okay, little toddler, you're now creeping along. Do your thing. I'm gone.
My two favorite is probably 100.1 and 97.1.
Oh,
Yeah, I could just.
school.
I remember there was I had a friend several years ago, and in her house that she lived with her mom, 97.1 was playing on a radio
24/7.
Literally, even when everybody was nighttime and everybody was sleeping, it was still downstairs in the living room, still playing. And I always remember that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they say it's Trinidad's favorite station.
I mean, it's very reliable. I have nothing bad to say. And it's true. People would be shocked. My husband, Nick Pena, was an extremely popular DJ for so many years, and certainly in an urban market. But when he would get in the car, half the time it would be 9-7 in the background.
calming. And I've known Nick for
And it doesn't shock you, does it?
decades.
Yeah.
I grew up playing basketball with Nick. I gave him the nickname Stretch when I was just a kid. And
Grew up playing basketball with Nick. How are your knees?
horrible.
Okay, just
His too.
knees, hips, ankles.
I could no longer play. If somebody called me to play a football game, I couldn't survive it.
He used to
The next
call
day, my
me,
knees would be a disaster.
He used to call me Little Miss New Knees because I had just never really exercised throughout my life. So I have a certain advantage over him. Disadvantages too, having never exercised most of my life, but
And then, of course, he was big in the nightclub scene,
Yeah, absolutely.
DJing. He was a staple. He was a face.
And not just DJing. He was somebody who helped establish what
Absolutely.
the soundscape was for clubbing during the heyday of Trinidad's clubbing days, which could return, but it's going to take some doing.
Yeah, and I think that the days of it's a side track, but I think the days of the large club may be behind us, like the massive Zens
I have been told
for one-off events, but weekend after
if you want
weekend.
to experience that again, head to Nigeria. That the scene
Big
there
club.
is just like it was in Trinidad back in the day.
I have some good friends in Nigeria. I
Ask
think
about
now's the time to
Might
go
go and visit.
Might go and visit.
Yeah.
My cousin used to live there in Abuja. He was a teacher there. But I would love to visit Nigeria. I mean, Lagos and Abuja. I know nothing about outside of those two cities, but I would definitely love to visit.
I've never been. You never
been
know.
to Africa. I've never been to the continent of Africa. I've been pretty much everywhere else.
Really?
Except Antarctica. I guess Antarctica, Africa, and Australia.
Oh, I've done some Europe. I've done quite a bit of the US, but barely anything in South America. I've gone to Guyana.
Asia.
Nope.
You never been to China?
No.
And
Never
this
been
is
to
also,
Australia
It's also a
either.
random point, but your sister was in Japan.
She lived in Japan.
For a million
she
years.
lived in Ecuador.
Right.
She would go to India regularly. Yes, and she lives in Canada now.
So I
So
remember
my
when-
sister's covered it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I remember when she was in Japan, I think she was teaching.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
It's a
awesome.
fantastic program that Trinis can take advantage of to this day.
I saw an ad pop up on Facebook or Instagram, one of the two, for that exact same thing.
Yeah. It's a good thing to go for. Recommend it to your cousins.
Yeah, it's true. What does it take? Because I guess you've spoken about your career.
And that I stumbled into
it, but
different aspects of media.
I know that I know people personally who would love to get into the voiceover game, or even the production game in general, but voiceover specifically.
Okay, so there's a few things here, right? So one, I think people have this idea that voiceover is really easy. Everybody, and people tell me I have a nice voice and all of that, so one. Two, that it's lucrative. People have this idea that you get paid so much money and it's for no work. You know what I mean? So I just want to start by saying that In Trinidad and Tobago, and this is true for sound engineers as well, the rates of pay for voiceover have not changed since the 80s.
Wow.
Okay? So, if you're starting out, you tend to expect to be paid $20 a second. I'm not talking about the amount of time you spent recording. I'm talking about the length of the media product. So if this is a 30-second ad, that's what, $600?
$600.
Okay, now that still sounds amazing because you went in, and how long is it really going to take you to record a 30-second ad, right? It's then it's become 3-year buyout,
right,
which means they can play that ad as many times as they want over a 3-year period, right?
They do, yeah.
And if after the 3-year period they want to continue playing it, they just have to pay you half the original rate. So 3 years later, you might get $300. So go ahead and take $900 and divide by
4
6
years.
by 12 you see what I mean, right? The pay is not amazing. No. On top of that, what happened to me at several points is that you go through hills and valleys. Oh, yeah. You see your voice is everywhere, but that's because you're hearing ads that have continued to be played. The last time I recorded a new ad, I did one this month. So look at that. Can you go to a restaurant with your husband for $600? Yes, yeah, you can.
Yes,
you can.
But then it's done.
Right? And that's one date a month. You know what I mean? Now, I do command a slightly higher rate, and it's a different rate when the voice is attached to video.
Right.
And this is actually good information for people as well. So if you record a 30-second and it's going to be used on radio and it's going to be used in a TV ad, you're paid twice. The way it's done in Trinidad, now this has been threatening to change for many years because of our use now of voices internationally and just going to a website and, right? So if they're not concerned with the accent and they're okay with just getting a voice from online, that rate of pay is different. The reason for that is that I'm not explaining this very logically. Okay, so you basically are supposed to be compensated not for your work that you put out, but for the effect that your work had.
Yes.
How many ears it reached, how many people you were part of influencing to purchase a product or what have you, right? And that's why it's paid separately for use. The same way that if a model takes a photo and they use that photo in an ad in the newspaper, and then they want to use it on a billboard, they need to pay you again for the use on the billboard. Yeah. It's different.
Yeah, you have to be very specific with the client. Where is this airing?
Yes.
Because, I mean, I'm sure that you have probably run into a few.
Not very much. I think it's because being a privileged person, they don't try it out with me.
Oh, well, they've tried it with me.
Really?
Oh, I could from the top come down.
Really?
Oh, I voiced an ad, which I can't say who, but I voiced an ad for a very ginormous organization. Okay. And they said it was going to air on radio and TV. Mm-hmm. And then it was airing on, and that was in the contract. And then it started airing on social media.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like blurry. But when I called and inquired, this ginormous organization literally ignored me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was on top of getting a call at 11:42 p.m. the night before the ad was airing to say, we need you to fix a line.
Oh, lovely.
And I drove down there at midnight, and between midnight and 1 a.m., I recorded the fix of the line, or the 2 lines, and then it was after, which I was excited to do. I mean, I always like to do ads, especially voiceovers. And a couple weeks later, that ended up happening.
I have like 3 different things to say simultaneously. So to try to finish, so the only way that system works is if it's trackable. Right? Because if you had never known that they were going to, how would you know to charge for it? You know what I mean? So that's why internationally, voices can't charge that way. They can't say, and then you'll pay me if this appears, because they're not going to be able to track it.
Yeah, so you just pay me for everything one time.
So when you are getting a voice online, the only way they charge is by the page or because that's the only plausible way that they can charge, right? Okay, so in Trinidad, we are still, for local voices, on the old system of depending on how it's used, you pay me, so that's one. And this is how my brain works. The 2 things that I wanted to say are now like, what were they? Oh my God,
It happens to me
say something else.
daily.
Say something else. It'll come to me.
But yeah, I am. How do you know? I'm going to ask you a question. I hope it jogs.
Yeah, because it'll come back.
How do you get? Because I know that when my ads are playing or when they start to replay the older ads that I've voiced, do people still message you?
No, they don't message me, but I have a lot of fun meeting new people. And if it comes up that I do this, I treat it like a party trick.
You'll say like one of the lines.
Yeah.
From yes, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
What does MBA mean to you? More boardroom action?
My favorite, because it is slightly, and I do think that even like sitting here with you because I have on headphones and I'm hearing myself, I think I am enunciating a little bit more. I'm using more of what my radio or my ad voice would be right now than if we were in casual conversation,
The microphone will do that.
It does. There's just an automatic thing that happens to you, And people ask me, well, where did you learn it? Because I did not go to any schooling, none of this.
For voiceovers?
Nothing. Now, one of the things I know that trained me was my mother. My mother was a purser in BWIA. And sometimes, often, on flights, she would be the one on the microphone.
Communication.
Yeah, or the intercom. Right. And she would be the one saying, to fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal clip. You know what I mean?
And you have to be understood. As a trainee, I think it's default that you want to be understood right away.
She had no training, but she was great at it. And I could observe that she slightly honeyed her voice. And by honey your voice, you mean this. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And there's an over-enunciation of words that she would do that had a huge influence on me. And it's become my calling card. And I can tell, and people have told me, when other voices are doing me as a technique. And it works, and I recommend it.
Awesome.
It's something that I listen out for now with ads. If the script says, and we went to, many people will say, and we went to, as if there's no T at the end of went.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't do that. And we went to. It's actually kind of difficult to do if you're not used to doing it.
And there's another one. Trinidad. Not Trinidad.
Trinidad.
And street. In my voice training, my voice coach, my speaking voice coach, she stressed that STR or that TR, you better hit those syllables as a actor, orator, whatever the case may be. Pronunciation is important,
This is on my list that I sent you. There is this one little tendency for Trinidadians to do that I hear every time, and I don't know if other people hear it. Many Trinidadians, and I'm even going to venture to predict that South Trinidadians in particular fall into this trap. The script has the word the in it. Almost every script does. But if the is at the start of a sentence, you say the.
Not the.
No. Even if it's the.
Or the.
But if it comes up in the middle of a sentence, they say duh. The sale is now on. So-and-so at the supermarket. Happens constantly. And I'm someone who has really considered how your accent cannot be inappropriate. Okay? Because some people say, no, to be corporate, you're not supposed to pronounce things. And I'm like, hang on. That cannot be true. If we're from Trinidad and we have developed our accents and our slangs, etc., in a particular way, that's a value. And if you're trying to connect with your consumers, it really depends. You don't automatically
do or don't.
You know what I mean? So, because I've had people come to me and say, could you train me to sound more like you? And I'm like, okay, I understand wanting to fulfill a client brief when they have requested something, but I don't want to be part of perpetuating an idea that there is only one way
to speak
to sound like a Trini, even. You know what I mean?
Which, from my experience, and I think your experience as well, you will be able to speak quite a bit on this as I believe I can.
Okay.
Your accent wouldn't necessarily, as well as mine, wouldn't necessarily be called the typical
correct
Trinidadian, Tobagonian accent.
Correct. Yes.
I guess the simplest question is, how has that been for you being so, visible is funny because it's your voice, but being so visible or so heard all the time. But then also, I'm sure in some settings, people will say, you don't sound Trinidadian. You don't look Trinidadian. I've gotten, you don't look Trinidadian enough.
Absolutely. But it's not a negative for me because the place for me is full. There are so many jobs appropriate for me that it's not something I can complain about, So trying to sort of think rationally about speech and about privilege and about class and what a script calls for, I put effort into that because I don't want to blindly benefit from my privilege. You benefit from your privilege no matter what. So, okay, but don't be blind about it, Years ago, I was told that in Hindi and Urdu, in languages out of India, the TH sound simply doesn't exist. And I'm saying that very casually. That may be slightly inaccurate. I'm not the authority. It was just something I was told. But it really made me appreciate better how many Trinidadians don't use TH,
right.
But when they're trying to sound fancy, they will say the, but only if it's the start of the sentence,
right.
So I bring that up in a loving way because I'm not telling people, stop saying the, it sounds so unprofessional. Right. Just think about it. Realize what you're doing and adjust to be appropriate. And maybe your choice is
correct.
Duh consistently.
Yes. There's a time for it.
Make a choice. Because if you're doing it unconsciously, to me, that's the problem. Just so make your choice. Yeah. Rep for your tongue, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's similar in acting. I think everything should be deliberate and intentional. And when you're voicing an ad, we are voicing what's on the paper. Mm-hmm. There are no filler words on the paper.
Correct.
There's no and
Yep.
And so there is an intentionality that is very specific because they give you what you're saying.
Okay, so let's talk about that, right? They're giving you what you're saying. Every time I receive a script, the script tells me how it's supposed to be read. Sometimes I will get an instruction. This is supposed to be loud, and then I look at the script, and the script has not been written for that tone, Or they tell you, yeah, we want this to be super professional, but then there's a set of words in bold, in all caps. You know what I'm saying? People, when you are writing a script, you cannot tell by your typeface that every single thing is supposed to be emphasized. That's ineffective. Choose your emphasis in your script, okay? To maintain hype throughout a whole script, that's not effective. You have to choose your moments.
Yeah. Just like a scene. It is a scene.
Absolutely.
It is a scene. It's just an audio scene.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there are so many people. Now, I do a lot of FET ads. And by the way, FET ads I charge differently for. There are probably voicing people who will be vexed at me for this because as one of the top voices, they say, Sophie, you're dragging down we pay. But I believe that if an ad is only going to have relevance for 3 months, often less, often it's 3 weeks.
True.
Before they put out an ad, right? I can't charge the corporate rate for the 3-year buyout, right?
I did the same thing for Patrice. I did the exact same thing.
And I have no problem with that. Now, you have to understand as well that when they're doing FET ads, very often they're not 30 seconds. And sometimes that is just because sponsored by, sponsor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That go take up 30 seconds on its own.
And then the artists that are going to be there too.
Yeah, absolutely. So them fellas, if they were paying the corporate rates for me, because I'm at 35 a second when it's going along with video that they put in online, right? That is going to they're going to end up paying, $6,000 to me for the ad? It's not sustainable. And that also comes because I have a lot of awareness of the entertainment industry. Again, my husband has put on many events. So I know how costs add up during that uncertain time when you have not recouped with ticket sales yet. So I had all of this in mind.
And because it's a short-lived time period because after the party, they're not going to be playing the ad again.
Done.
They're not.
Yep.
So you being in the industry and also being in the industry for as long as you have and having the insights that you have.
So
it allows you to maneuver.
I charge a flat rate and I tell them, don't take on the length of it. Don't be adding up your seconds. It's a flat rate. But you know what else I do? I say, okay, I want you to give me the list of all the sponsors you're courting. And I'm going to record all of them and you can use if they come through. So
nice.
I don't have to go back.
I have never thought of that. That's brilliant, actually.
Well, thanks so much.
That's awesome.
Oh, The other thing that real people may not know, but some people are going to be like, Sophie, how do people not recognize you? I left Slam and I was at Freedom. Slam had the station voice.
Yeah.
Right? And so many stations in Trinidad have a foreign station voice. Now, the reason for that, I've been told, is that they need it to sound distinct.
Right.
And there's just this marker, because we've absorbed media for 100 plus years of movies, there's this filmic language that also translates with audio that makes you just receive it a certain way. So, in a world, it just makes you, that tone and the accent. And so a lot of radio stations go with that and they have a foreign dramatic station voice, So Slam did that, but Joel went for a British voice instead. Slam, and it's, right? So they were having problems at carnival time because at carnival time, they need to have a set of drops and they need to so-and-so. And he was doing a weekly concert that's still going on, right? They do it every year. And they were having problems getting the man to send back within a 24-hour period.
Wow.
And I said, well, I could try to do a British voice. So for like 4 years now, Slam Carnival.
Very cool.
That is me.
That's awesome. That to me, those are the most fun.
They can be.
Those are the most fun. The ad that I
But the reason I thought of it is because for years I have told them, give me the list of every soca artist possible. And I will just sit and record Patrice Roberts, Pretty.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It's fun.
And coincidentally, the ad that I told you I woke up in midnight for to go and correct, that was also a British accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was for cricket.
I'm insecure about doing accents. I used to be much more confident. But you know how the more you know what you don't know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. So having lived in the US, I could do a Southern because I was in North Carolina, but my Southern it's real cliche. It's thick.
But you could pass for Southern as well. If
but,
you walked into a shop and you talk like that, nobody would think. Me,
yes,
they might look at me a little differently.
I suppose. But with British, I don't know where I'm from. I'm fairly certain that the entire time I'm talking, I start to drift from one area of the country to the other. I have no idea which area I'm from.
That does happen.
I think right now I'm doing a received pronunciation, what they call it.
North London.
But it could change at any moment. And for Slam, I kind of try to think about Scary Spice.
Right.
And maybe like foundational Adele.
Right.
Like back when she was still kind of ratchet, you know what I mean? Because you got to be like this. Because it's got to be, you can't be slightly Trini that's like, because when I'm Trini, I'm slightly British anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get something gritty to do Slam, But I'm pretty sure that I'm not doing it very well.
And I think it sounds awesome.
Well,
I'd hire you to voice an ad.
Somebody is going to comment on this podcast
for sure.
and be like,
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm very open to hearing about it. I have got 3 reels up on YouTube. So if you search my name, my last name is not the color. It's so funny when I introduce myself to people that I've never met in Trinidad. I will say, hi, I'm Sophie Wight. It's ironic. And I usually get a little laugh out of it. You know what I mean? So, but my last name is Wight, which is a whole isle in England, by the way, the Isle of Wight,
True.
Anyway, so I have 3 reels up on YouTube. And one of them is Kate Blanchett. She's the one that did Lord of the Rings. Is it her?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm channeling her.
She was like the very scary elf woman.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, the very imposing.
Yes. And then she did this like it was a jump scare with her.
I think you're probably right. I haven't seen the movie in years. But I was channeling her. So one of my reels is an extended script that I did for a video game in that accent.
Nice.
And I would love a review of that from somebody. Did I hit it?
Oh, I would love to. We should post it.
You could.
We should post it and see.
And yeah, the YouTube reel thing is a good idea, actually.
Yeah. I'm actually in the process of putting together my acting reel.
Oh, lovely.
An updated acting reel. And I don't have a voiceover reel.
You should.
I should. I just, for some reason, I've never really thought of it. But yeah.
And that's because you get calls.
Yeah.
You're not seeking work, So, but every now and again, I have to seek work because people will assume the market is saturated of Sophie's voice and they want somebody else.
And you have to kind of sell yourself a little
And
bit
I
at
have
that
to
point.
remind people that I exist, you know? So
And that you're versatile. You can kind of flex your voice.
yeah, and you know, it's funny because in Trinidad there is this natural exclusivity that happens, right? If you do an ad for a bank, no other bank will touch you, right? If you do an ad for one automotive company, if you do an ad for one alcohol brand, that one might be a little bit more flexible. But you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, it also happens with the Effect ads.
Right.
Right? So Randy Glasgow has used me for years and years and years. That's great. There are certain foreign ads that come through a particular producer. And because they're all over the United States, he just uses me every time because there's no competition. You know what I mean? But I am tied to a particular bank. I'm actually one of the ATMs.
Don't I hear your voice? Don't I hear your voice constantly?
And also when you call the bank.
Correct.
And that,
Yes.
you'll hear me.
That's one of the instances where I said that I whenever I hear your voice, I'm like, another one.
There is a clip of me that I posted. I think I posted it to LinkedIn where I am on hold with the bank. I am frustrated. And yet,
It's you.
I have to listen to me say, your call is important to us. Please stay on the line.
And our agents will get to you, whatever the case is.
My brother says every time he goes to the ATM, he's just like, give me money.
Your voice is in the ATM.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a Lynx card.
Yeah.
It got skimmed some years ago.
And you're just like,
And
I'm never going
in
back.
protest, I told them I'm not getting it.
Yeah, I believe you.
I can tell you I've spent less money not having a Lynx card.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that
'cause-
could be somebody's New Year's resolution this year.
Yeah. Leave your Lynx card home.
Yeah. Do better with that.
Correct.
So if somebody wants to get into voicing,
Yeah.
that whole reel thing, you don't have to put it up on YouTube, okay? But what you should do, this is advice I have given to multiple people, is you should start by calling all of the ad agencies that you can think of. You're not going to get somebody to take your phone call. So you're not calling and asking for, what's the phone number of the radio producer?
Or the creative
or
director, none of that.
No, but you can ask for email addresses. Email your reel and just say, or your recording of yourself. Literally tape an ad, just what I did, just what the engineer back then had me do. He had me read an ad that exists so that they can even compare how you did it to how it was already done. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid. Look at you.
This is when I want to send an example, like a demo.
Yes,
That's what
you
I do.
can, right?
Yeah.
So if you email people, because they genuinely are always looking for voices. Now, this is a double-edged sword because you're trying to get into an industry that is highly competitive because so many trainees can do it. You know what I mean? Things don't get, I shouldn't say expensive, but they don't get valued when there are low barriers to entry.
Yeah.
And if you don't technically need any training, you can just walk up to a mic and do it. Okay. Now, I will say this to everybody looking for new voices. Somebody is making the payment, and it's usually in the engineer's time. Because if they have to work with somebody who's green, the recording will take longer, but then also the modulation later, new voices tend to peak. They don't know how to keep it within a range. There's a lot of that kind of thing, which to a certain extent is unavoidable. But for some reason, over time, the engineers have told me they just don't have these problems with me. Also, I've done a lot of long format work.
Audiobooks?
No, never done an audiobook. I would love to. In Trinidad, the greatest opportunity for long format work is in safety videos.
Industrials and stuff like that.
Yes. So the fellas are going to get on a helicopter to be taken out to an oil rig. They're first shown a video with certain rules, regulations, and safety information. I've done a fair few of those.
I've just did one.
Well.
Cable and wireless.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
The audio engineers, you can see them kind of gearing up for a long session. And more than once I've gone in and it's one undone, one undone,
Correct.
one undone. And they just don't need to spend all day with me. I can just read it in one, you know? So I feel like I should toot my horn a little bit in
You
that
absolutely
aspect,
should, yeah.
You know?
If you're good at what you do, you absolutely should.
Which has always been difficult.
I don't think there's
for
anything
me.
wrong with that.
I've only started to recognize my value in maybe the last 6 years.
I've had a problem with self-promotion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to post things over and over and over. I get envious of people who can. I need to start doing that more. But yeah, it's just kind of how it is. And what that also lends to is just the fact that you are so efficient. We'll just use that term.
Sure.
That when a producer hears Sophie's coming to record an ad, they're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just gonna, there's 10 minutes.
Yep.
Unfortunately, when I call like a studio, I have to record an ad, like somebody will ask me, can you send me something tomorrow? If I call, whether it's Kit or Mate or Caron or whoever it is.
They know they can slot you in at any time.
And it's like, sometimes they'll tell me, they say, is it long? I'm like, 30 seconds. They say, come quick. Because they'll know it's in 10 minutes it's done.
About 10 years ago, a little bit more than 10 years ago, I called Mark Taverneau, also rest in peace. And I said, Mark, I think I want to record at home. And he set me up.
That was literally his specialty.
Yeah, he was great at it. And I still have the same microphone because it just still works great to this day. The ad I recorded this week, I recorded at home.
Awesome.
I opened 2 cupboards. Oh, look at me, just wrecking the place. I opened 2 cupboards, so the clothes are filled up behind me, everything. I have a set of padding, because we used to have a studio, a whole room, but then we moved house, we lost a bedroom. I couldn't do that anymore. So I still have, because Mark Wright is the one who went and created the studio room for us. I saved all of the padding. So if I wanted to, if I had like a real big project, I could build walls around myself of padding and do it much more professionally. But anyway, so I started recording at home, and I have probably the closest relationships I have with producers. The first one would be Aaron Marquez at Prudon.
Of course.
Aaron is a very giving person.
I like Aaron a lot.
And he wants the best product. So he's helped me set up the Logic software that I have on my laptop so that it is the best it can be for just me recording at home. Just hit record, don't do anything else, So I've got that. The second producer that I have a really good relationship, his name is Sean Hernandez, and he does practically everything for Guardian Media's radio stations. I mean, obviously, that's part of how we. So between the two of them, I've been able to figure out how to record on my own at home at a completely acceptable way for anybody to receive and work with it. So it also makes it a whole lot better when I have to do that one correction. I'm just going upstairs and plugging in.
Pop in. I have definitely been called to make a correction, and there's no way I can get into a studio. And so I have a big blanket.
Blanket, yes.
I have a big thick blanket at home that I don't use. It's just in the closet.
Yeah.
And I literally will turn off all the ACs around my area.
So you sweat under the blanket.
Yes, and I'm underneath the blanket, and I'm literally holding my
phone.
And the light from my phone is what is
illuminating the script.
Space. And I read straight off my phone, and I'll send it. And then there's like that 5 minutes where I'm like, is it
acceptable?
Is it good? Is it okay? Because they don't know. I'm not telling them I'm recording on my bed under a blanket.
Really?
I don't know.
Sean and I are the one that we put together that kind of system for me, but it works the best when we're doing fet ads, because if it doesn't match the level or the quality of the previous one, or it has different background noise or whatever, he'll modulate it. He'll make it like an echoey sound or something. You know what I mean? And he's always able to work that out.
Yeah, whenever there's background music, they're normally like, yeah, this will work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they'll just throw it in and no issues. But yeah, I've definitely had fun in the voiceover space. So
folks at home, if you have to do that, just a tip, angle the phone slightly, and that will avoid the pops and stuff. Like, you don't want to put it directly. I'm
always like here, and I'll look at the Vox to see, am I popping? Am I too soft?
Yeah, and then you replay it.
Yeah, exactly. And just record a couple of times. And because I'm on my bed under a comforter, I can record as many times as I want. There's no engineer for me to say, action, no? Okay.
So recently, I had to do a script that was for a end-of-year presentation. And so this brand manager was communicating to a team in a different country how, not end of year, really start of next year. So here's how we're going to handle this brand in 2026. So it was about 15 pages. There were 30 groupings. So it was 30 slides that the audio was going against, right? And I want to encourage anyone who ever has to write a script for someone to record voiceover for, right? You have an idea of how long it's going to be based on what you're looking at, only if you avoid using abbreviations. And there are abbreviations that you don't realize you're using. The $ is an abbreviation, okay? $20 looks like one thing, but if you write $20,
2 words.
It's a different thing. I encourage people, do not send someone 2 ml if you want them to say 2 milliliters, okay? Because and this happens a lot with brand managers or technical people who are really used to using certain jargons, right? I also encourage people to use dashes to join words together if it's supposed to be said that way, you know?
Absolutely.
So on-site, right? The on-site operations. Put a dash between on and site so that the person won't say, coming to on-site operations.
Yeah,
you see
absolutely.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a flow that I think that the English language allows for, but it's just tricky. But yeah,
and you have to guide. So when I receive a script, the script tells me how to read it. That's only if it's written well. If it's not written with the voice in mind and written with a ton of assumptions, it's not going to go very well. So people, if you're writing a script, the first thing is everything is spelled out the way you want it said. The one time I would say you can maybe get away with it is like 2026.
I was just about to say a year.
Yeah. That's the one thing that, okay, maybe don't write 2020, fine.
Yeah, so we know that it's a year in that case.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly, right? But everything else, so that's the first thing, spell it out. The second thing is do a first pass with no caps, no underline, no bold.
Neutral.
Right? Then you look at it and you can now select where to put it in, but be very selective, right? Then you can send the instructions on the tone. And you should. Now, when I'm doing a FETAD, I often find that they write a script, ask it, because I do this sexy voice, right? Okay. So, the party experience. This FET will be like none ever before. And the script is written in this way. And then suddenly I'm supposed to switch to so-and-so, and because it's written that way. How am I supposed to make that switch? You know what I mean? I end up reading the whole thing in the sexy tone, which sounds ridiculous. And then I read the whole thing in the excited tone.
And let them pick and choose what they want.
And that's often what happens. The engineer, because the engineers now put in like a song in between and they go walk, you know? But when I tell you feel like an idiot. Like if they ask you to do a script and it's this highfalutin thing, so you put in on your most highfalutin accent, but then they need you to talk about San Juan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, San Juan isn't gonna...
I can't say that, no, but it sounds weird to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, just saying it how we pronounce it. San Juan.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sandy Grande, when there's no D. I say Sandy Grande. Everybody, I know it's Sangri Grande. I get it, but...
Sangri Grande, yeah. I haven't had to do that one in a while. Yeah. So anyway, I hope people are hearing my advice because it would help me so much if I just never got a script again that I had to like trip over.
Analyze. Oh, there will always be analyzing, but I think that there's a certain level of analyzing in a professional script versus an amateurly written script.
Massive pet peeve.
Is.
Okay, they've sent me a script. They tell me 2 changes, and then they send the 2 changes over WhatsApp line. Go back to your script, make the changes, and resend the script. Because I'm reading your script. I'm supposed to, from memory, remember the 2 changes that you sent me over WhatsApp? No, man, come on, you know? So, massive pet peeve. I feel like I'm going to start charging people for my time to go and like download your thing and edit and, you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just read from my phone most of the time. So
exactly. Yes.
And so I need the script because I'm like this.
And if you've sent it as a PDF, I can't edit it.
True.
So what is that? Yeah.
Well, you know, I wanted to, because you touched on it a few times, and it's I guess it's one of the last questions, but there's more, but there's probably one of the last questions. You did touch on it. I'm kind of curious your thoughts, your perspective, opinion, views on being pros and cons, being white.
Touched on it. Yeah.
As you touched on it a few times, but being white in media in Trinidad.
Okay, so.
Because you mentioned the pros with the privilege.
Yeah, no, I'm still huge advantages media overall, right? Taken seriously, listened to, all kind of things, right? The cons are that if you want to be involved in authentic storytelling in Trinidad, there are few stories that need to be told about white people, you know? So you simply don't have as many roles.
Opportunities.
Now, recently, I do quite a lot of social media content creation, and one of my clients is a company called C15, and they finance Caribbean creative projects.
Absolutely.
Right?
I love what Lisa and Emma are doing.
Right? So when, so Celeste Mohammed has a novel called Pleasant View, and C15 made it happen to have the audiobook produced with Caribbean voices. And there are audiobooks happening for Caribbean literature, but it's usually these foreign companies, and they've got a cookie cutter way of doing it so that it is efficient, cost-effective production. So you can't fault them for their system, but AI hasn't gotten to the point where they can reproduce, even though every single job voices.com sends me is for data training, and I have so far declined all of them. I don't get international work. I really don't. That audiobook space should be opening up. There may be opportunity for me in that I could be the appropriate narrator, for example, but I'm not necessarily going to get roles. And even acting, you know what I mean? Every single time I have been on television in Trinidad, it's been because it's a role for a foreigner. There was one time that I got on, and that's because the original people dropped out. This thing used to play on TV every time it rained during cricket, and they needed to just pull something. Naima Thompson was producing for, I don't know, the UNDP or somebody.
Right.
And it was these moralistic tales. And there was the young boy who doesn't want to study, and his mother is like, no, you have to study. And he's like, I don't want to listen to you. I'm going to a party instead. And then he gets a bad grade, and she's disappointed in him. That's the whole story. People deeply loved this performance. I think it's such proof that if you just tell a good, relatable story, it doesn't need to have car crashes, etc. Yeah. But the reason I ended up in this is because the people who were supposed to do it dropped out 3 days before they were supposed to shoot.
And you were there, available.
Naima was the drama teacher at the international school at the time.
Yes.
My brother was attending the international school, so she knew about him, right? So he was 14 or so. I'm 24. I'm only 10 years older than Jeffrey. And she said, do you think your sister could pass for your mother?
Oh, wow.
And he was like, So we gave me like bags under my eyes, and we gave me like this beehive kind of hairstyle. And it didn't really pass, but when the product came out, it was well
received.
When I tell you.
That's awesome.
He's standing in line at Caesars. You know how Caesars didn't come out that long ago in Trinidad. But I'm telling you, if I was 24, that's 2004, right? This thing came out 20 years ago. He's standing in line at Little Caesars, and a man is on the phone behind him. I asked Jeffrey about this sometime. And the man is talking to his girlfriend. And Jeffrey kind of turns around because he was saying something, you know? And the guy notices and goes, hang on. Hey, girl. Is Simon here with me, you know?
Oh, wow.
Hey. And he recognizes him as a character, you know what I mean? Yeah, people recognize me in the grocery to this day from that production. But it was a mistake. Now, it does to an extent prove that I could.
Absolutely.
You know? But I'm not here to cry about it.
No.
Right?
But they're yeah. I mean, it would be nice if we looked at, because so we're producing an ad now for the studio, not to advertise the studio, but just some positive social messaging that we would like to get out there.
Okay.
And one of them is entitled Every Creed and Race.
Yeah.
And so because I guess I wrote it, and I am in the position that I'm in, skin color wise, last name wise, I think that I want the Every Creed and Race to be something that we all hold on to. Mm-hmm. And And so that's why I guess, I mean, I don't complain about it, but when people ask or when it does come up, I have to voice it because I'm not somebody who keeps things in. And, being told, at an audition, you're not Trinidadian enough. I was born in Amicus Daycare, nursing home in Diego Martin.
Yeah.
I went to St. Anthony's, and CIC.
Yeah.
I apologize, but I don't like salt prunes. It's probably the least Trini thing about me is I don't like salt prunes.
On Twitter the other day, somebody posted, I think it was a photo of, oh God, is his name Adam Scott, Sandals, Jamaica? Anyway. Stuart, right. And his family.
Adam Scott's the actor.
I know who you're talking about. Hot Priest?
I think so, yeah.
And they basically were posting to say, white people in the Caribbean just try hard to stay in their bubble. They have to import white people from other islands, etc., to continue marrying and keep that bloodline pure, right? And I commented and I said, you're not wrong, but I would say that it is actually harder to get out of your bubble than stay in it. And that started a conversation where somebody said that, I was once in England and I met this girl with blonde hair, but she was full Trini and I was so shocked. And I said, to me, this is an example of what I'm saying. How do you not know of white Trinidadians? We've had Olympians, George Bovell. We've had politicians, Stephen Hadeed. We've had Calypsonians, Denise Plummer. How do you not know that we exist?
Radio personalities, actors, other sportsmen. I mean, we have, on the football team, the cricket team.
But
we have incredibly multicultural, but the Caribbean, as a perception, as a wider Caribbean, it's seen as a predominantly Afro-Caribbean society.
I mean, and the cliche is starting to unravel a little bit.
With information that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not saying this in a hugely judgmental way. How do you not know?
Right.
I'm saying the same way that you don't know is how white people continue to marry white people because it is easier to stay in your bubble than step outside of it.
Right.
So that's really one of the things that is important in this whole topic. Now, when it comes to my opportunities for performance, because voicing would be performance,
absolutely.
right? I've already said there are fewer of them. I did have one experience that was a little heartbreaking because this author who lives away really wanted me to voice the central character in her audiobook. And the character is Black, but she felt very strongly that Trinis are Trinis and your voice is the voice that I hear and I really want you to do it. And I was going with it. And then I was sent the book. And it only took 2 pages before the character said the N-word. And I went, I cannot say that I relate to this character. That's a line, and I had to back out of the project.
I actually agree with you. I do agree with you.
Because I do think that Trinidad has got, we often get into comparisons with race relations and struggles that come out of North America. We get into conversations about every struggle of any kind out of North America. North America is a predominant leading culture that we absorb. Okay. But Trinidad and the Caribbean at large has got a slightly different, some people have their head in the sand about it and will say, no, what's going on there has nothing to do with us. And I don't think that's true. But we are different. We are highly nuanced in our race relations,
Trinidad specifically? Trinidad
and the Caribbean.
Right.
There's layers and layers to this that's much more complicated than race relations in the United States. Not that there aren't similarities, it's just different and more complicated and more layered. So I do think that there are characters who may not be pure, because when I tell you I pure white, dog, I did a 23andMe. I am 99.7%.
The white countries.
German, it's French, it's England. When I tell you nothing, my sister have more variety than me. I just draw every gene. Anyway,
all the white genes came by you.
Whoa. I do still think that I could perform a character who was mixed, who was so-and-so, somebody who grew up in a similar area to me, that kind of thing, who went to similar school as me, you know what I mean? But there's a line.
Well, I can't disagree there. I think that it's where I don't believe in censorship. I'm somebody that does not believe in censorship, but at the same time, there is a line. I'm not going to sit here and say that, I'll do and say everything. That's not the case. Just the other day, I was doing a film. I was supposed to call him yesterday with Shane Leakett, brilliant writer and filmmaker. And he has an animated series called PB and the Buck.
Yeah, he's a GML guy, actually.
That's true. He's a Guardian guy. Yeah. And I saw him yesterday as he was leaving work, and I was supposed to call him. But he wrote a brilliant script called Handjack. And I was I played the villain, which I love to play the villain. It's my favorite. And in it, my character, the boss, technically the pimp of a bunch of young women, disciplines one of these young women.
Oh, really?
By slapping her and beating her with a belt.
Oh, lovely.
When I read it in the script, the first thing I told him, I said, I'm not going to hit a woman on screen. It's just something for me. I don't want to do that.
That's an interesting debate. The rape scene debate is part of this as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's a little further, but yes. And same exact vein.
Foundationally, the idea that perpetuating imagery of something...
And violence against...
...actually perpetuates the existence of it. It doesn't... It's funny. Every time you see a billboard that's about domestic violence, there tends to be a woman
in distress.
Beat up. And I have to say, I think that is counterproductive. I don't want to get into it because that's not what this podcast is about.
But I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
Because messaging is very, very important.
Yeah.
And I think being in media, and you have read as many scripts as you have, your scene analysis, script analysis, image analysis, ad analysis, whatever you want to call it, is very heightened. Yeah. And so you can look at an ad and say, probably not the best imagery messaging.
You need to show domestic violence survivorship and empowerment.
A woman smiling.
Not advertising, because it almost becomes alluring and sexy, to those who would actually do these acts,
Yeah.
God, we've done that thing.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Where were we talking about? No, it was, I guess, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean, we have our issues, undoubtedly, especially with the external, which we definitely don't need to get into now, but the external influences of what's going on with USA and Venezuela.
Yeah.
And of course, Palestine, Israel, Ukraine, Russia, but
that's right.
This is our backyard.
Yeah.
It almost feels like we're walking through life navigating landmines.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
That's what it feels like to me sometimes.
Okay, but I just thought of something.
Tell me.
Okay. In my life as a performer, and this has happened to so many performers, one of the only ways that, I'm thinking of Tanil Nawalo actually while I'm saying this, one of the ways you get to perform is by creating the products that you can perform in.
Well, she's the queen of that.
Right. So immediately I thought of her. And this is me being, empowering and congratulatory. You go for it, right?
Absolutely.
So I have not necessarily pursued that. I can't say that I have this fire to perform and, that's okay. That's your space. I'm not competing with you on that at all, right? But I have always been thrilled to create it for other people. And then I often include myself, So my greatest opportunities for that since, no longer being with Marielle, leaving Scourge, would be through Robert Dumas. So Robert, Guardian.
Yes.
Right? He has
shout out Manhood podcast.
Exactly. He has had an unreasonable enthusiasm for producing local content for decades. Okay? Whereas many others have become jaded for great reasons. Okay? Mm-hmm. Robert continues to push for it, to want to actually have us create ourselves, our accents, the things that delight us, our dramas, right? We have to be realistic. In Trinidad and Tobago, there are maybe 10 advertisers, but they might have dwindled, who still have an annual marketing budget. And in the pie that's getting chopped up, there's a pizza slice for TV advertising, for putting the money behind creating the ad, and then the payment to get it played on various radio stations. Right. Okay? But maybe 10 of them. okay, if you watch local television and you start to count ads, the ones for like a tiny supermarket or a hardware or a hairdresser, that's not what we're talking about.
No.
We're
Talking
talking
about the KFCs, the
about
courts.
people who can realistically give more than $20,000
Right.
to a production,
Yeah,
right?
the bigger companies.
Less than 10, fewer than 10, sorry, not less. Anyway, that's one of my pet peeves. Can't believe I just did that. So as a result, we have to be very efficient in our productions to get television shows made.
Yeah.
And that's why in Trinidad, there are a lot of talk shows and there are a lot of cooking shows and sort of game shows, right? So as a result, What Tong Say was something that we put together and did. And I am incredibly proud of What Tong Say, partly because it's one of the stepping stones that had Junior Lee, who was the host. And he is just continuing.
On a rocket ship.
And I just love
Every
everything
second of
going
it.
on
Yes,
for him.
I
You know
agree.
what I mean?
And the rest of them. But he seems to be diversifying in a way that is, it's just his star is shining, which is nice.
He's connecting.
Yes, that's true.
You know,
That's true.
Anyway. So that's how Spellbound, the TV show, has had 5 seasons, but we're in a bit of a holding pattern right now. We should have shot season 6
Right.
2 months ago. So holding pattern, but I just can't see that show going away. That show has connected me. So for those who don't know, Spellbound is a spelling-based game show for kids 10 and under. We have, and I produce, I'm the mechanics producer for that show. I get 49 kids from ideally 49 different schools. It's a very difficult process to go through. I connect with the judge, who is an old school friend of mine, and create the word list. She does that. I format everything. I'm on set guiding the whole production. I create all the graphics.
Wow.
I do everything top to bottom on that show. And that show is one of the things that shows the best of Trinidad and Tobago. Our bright breed of 10-year-olds who, even if they get their word wrong, if you could just be on that set. We have had over 6 seasons, so 49 times 6, a lot of kids,
Yeah,
right?
That would be 294.
There you go. We have had maybe 3 parents act negatively when their child didn't do well, right? And that's always really sad to see. But what you have to understand is that means I have personally witnessed over 200 vibrant, healthy, loving families. I could cry. Oh God, I just might. Because, when you see, like, especially dads, their kid, like, makes a mistake.
Karma could get an napkin.
It's okay.
Please and thanks.
But when a kid makes a mistake and the kid is upset and mom or dad comes up to the podium and, just, we love you so much and you're doing so great and you're representing your school, I get emotional very easily, which is probably one of the things that benefits me as a performer. Yeah. But I think I also just feel so strongly about our country. And, the fact that we just see so much negativity.
Constantly.
All the time, every day. And this was one of the media products that does the opposite.
Because the positive things in this country outweigh the negatives by hundreds of times.
They absolutely do. They're just not very sexy.
And they don't sell papers.
Exactly.
But they don't sell anything. But just using papers as the term. But it's and it's so. I mean, shows like that. That's. I guess I feel the same way about the ads, the positive social messaging ads that I'm writing, because I consider myself a patriot of Trinidad. Mm-hmm. I love this country. Mm-hmm. I get so upset when I see things that go wrong that shouldn't be going wrong, whether it's the healthcare sector, whether it's politics, whether it's law enforcement, whatever it is. I get upset because it's infuriating, and it's hard to stay positive when so many things bother you, and then especially when it's always, as we just said, they're not sexy. The good positive things aren't sexy. The negative things sell, and so we're constantly fed this things that are just bringing us down. When you are producing stuff, Spellbound, and hopefully I will get to produce some stuff in the future that kind of tips that scale just a little bit.
During COVID, we were producing a TV show called Lie, Lie, Lie. Go to YouTube.
I'm going to look for it.
Search Lie, Lie, Lie TV. Okay? That was one of the most amazing experiences. And I'm recutting them right now so that they can be shown properly on Pavilion Plus.
Nice.
We have to take out the sponsor pop-ups and that kind of thing that were required in its first run. The premise of the show is that we had 3 people sit down and And it's myself, Robert, and Niall McNish.
Love Niall.
Love Niall, right? 3 people sit down and tell us a story. So we show them telling us the story, but we also reenact the story in the stupidest way possible. So, like, if there's a Rasta in the story, Niall is playing the Rasta with a mop on his head.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we would do these ridiculous costumes and we would lip sync the storyteller's words. So it was drunk history style.
Right, yes.
Now, yes, drunk history was an influence, but actually the reason I pushed, because it was my concept that I brought to them, right? Because we had just created the game show together,
right.
the 3 of us. And I just had this idea, and it was mostly based on Nadia Batson. I've never told her this, right? I used to host Rising Stars, and Nadia was one of the judges.
Yes.
And so as a result, I'm following her on social media. And during COVID in particular, she was one of the people very often doing lip sync videos. They drop off now. Most people have dropped off, you know. And it just made me realize that, Trini's could do this, you know. So we created this show where the 3 storytellers tell us a story, but we don't know if they're telling us a true story or if they made it up.
It's like 2 truths and a lie kind of vibe, right?
Yes. Now we did away with 2 truths and a lie, guaranteeing that one is a lie, because then if we told 2 stories and 2 were true, well, we knew the 3rd one was a lie. You know what I mean?
So
anyway,
lie.
So hilarious show. But if you see some of these episodes, Junior Lee told a story about our vagrants. I'm not going to say anything else.
Right. I'm going to look for it specifically.
Go find it, you know. And I remember some of it was shot during COVID and we had to be very careful, you know, and coming out of COVID. And we put out a call for actors and we couldn't pay. I felt so bad paying people $300 for 9 hours of work. It came down to, you know, and I just felt like this is nothing, but we couldn't pay more than that. So many actors were so thrilled to be there. We're so enthusiastic to show up and do their parts. And I mean, this kid named Rasul from Diego Martin was studying film at the time, and he came and it was in it, and he was behind it. He had a second camera, and, you know what I mean? And it is wonderful working around the enthusiastic, talented, passionate people.
That's my favorite thing about a film set is the collaborative spirit.
Yeah.
100, but not just film, but you know, television, radio, whatever it is, the collaborative spirit of just putting together as a team.
Well, that same kid is graduated now from his studies, and he messaged me over Instagram recently to say, hey, any work? And I'm like, 10 sponsors. Some have dropped off. Certainly no government spending right now.
None.
You know what I mean? No, there really isn't anything that I can tell you is happening.
That's tough. But I guess that's it. But Sophie, thank you. I you know, it's so funny. I always have an idea for the podcast, how they're going to go. I guess that's just my own ego. But they always, and I've been very, very fortunate, they always end up better than how I thought. Because I kind of have like this little mini panic attack. It's like, oh God, are we going to be able to talk for an hour? I hope I'm interesting. Because I'm inviting the guests who I know are going to be interesting, but I also kind of have to be interesting to engage.
Sure.
So thank you.
I would say, you know, my dad gave me advice when I was probably 10 years old, came home from one day at work, and he sat down at the breakfast table in Blue Range and he said, oh, Sophie, in this life, you could be strange, you could be odd, just be anything but boring. And I think that had a real effect on me at 10.
I think you've done a very good job. But thank you so much again. And I look forward to, I'm somebody who I want to have people on multiple times. So I'm going to reach out to you next year and we can have like a recap and see how everything's going.
And you never know, maybe by next year I'll be able to talk about what I'm actually doing right now.
You see, then I'm definitely bringing you on. Then I'm definitely bringing you on next year.
That has to do with getting back into publishing. So yeah.
That's cool. But thank you so much. And you know, the time is always appreciated. I hope you had a good time as well.
No problem, man.
Take care.